Welcome to Wild Pursuits with Cross Trail Outfitters, where we guide the next generation to Christ through the outdoors. Join us around the campfire as we share stories of faith, courage, and adventure. All right, guys, I have got a treat for you today. I think I always say that. I always got a treat, but I really got a special treat for you guys today. We're in Texas. We're at CTO Ram Camp here in Texas with the Wichita Falls chapter, and we have special guests here. We're at the B-Tex Ranch, and tell me the town
in
again.
Olney, Texas.
Olney, Texas, and you want to talk about an experience? I could sit here and probably talk the whole time and tell you about my experience already in the last 3 or 4 days. That's the last 4 days, chasing rams, chasing awdads, doing fishing, and you know what? And these boys are just like ate up with this. So you guys are going to get it in a treat to meet my new friends. We got Victor and Rhonda Bretting. They run the B-Tex Ranch here, and they have opened up their hearts and opened up their home. You guys live here.
We do
too, and it's so exciting to see people just give back what the Lord has blessed them with, to give back to the kids. And so you're going to get to hear kind of how CTO has blessed them, and how the kids are blessing them, and how they're blessing the kids. Because you guys have been working with CTO now here with Casey for the last, is it almost 3 years?
Coming on 3 years.
Coming on 3 years. So you're going to probably hear some really cool stories. Some we probably won't tell you, but exciting stories of lives being changed. And I know those who listen to Wild Pursuits here with Cross Trail Outfitters, probably the general theme that everybody always loves hearing is the life-changing stories. And they love hearing the stories of the hunts and different things, but they love hearing the campfire experiences, and where a young boy is accepting Christ, or a young boy is just getting right in his heart with the Lord, or even maybe forgiving mom or dad, or some scenario or life, or just getting right with things. So we're excited. So we're going to let Victor kind of let you guys know how he got plugged into CTO, and how he kind of found out about us, and how he got connected with Casey, our state director for Cross Trail Outfitters here in Texas. And Casey and his wife Tiffany are doing an amazing job, and he's got an amazing team. And if I remember right, Victor, correct me if I'm wrong, and you may not even know this, I was talking to Casey this morning when we were sitting in the dark in the blind and kind of whispering to each other. I think you're really one of his, if not his first landowner.
Correct.
For him when he got into Cross Trail Outfitters.
Yes, sir.
And when CTO chapters get started, that sometimes that can be one of the hardest things, because landowners are very, very cautious, and should be. I'm a landowner, and I'm cautious about who comes and goes. And you guys have an amazing operation here with what you're doing, and you get asked a lot, I'm sure. Yes. Everybody wants a place to hunt. Everybody wants a place to go. And you come see, and you guys see the background here. You're only seeing about 15% of it. I think you said there's 140 different mounts all over this place. You walk in here and you just kind of look around in awe. And I've watched the boys all week, even when we're just standing in line. You kind of see them just wandering, and you just kind of want to, I wonder what's going on in that young boy's heart right then. Just staring at that one animal, just dreaming about what may be someday. You just never know what God may be doing, inspiring a young boy just standing there looking at these mountains.
Absolutely.
Not everybody understands that, right? But I know you guys do. So Victor, tell us kind of how you got plugged in, how you met Casey, and how that worked, and then just kind of what made you decide to, I mean, you could have picked lots, and I know you work with many other really worthy organizations too, but you could have picked many others as well, but you chose Cross Trail Outfitters. So tell us a little bit how that worked.
Well, I appreciate everything, and thanks for coming down. It's
been fun.
I think it's important for Casey, for you being here for him, and we appreciate you coming down and seeing the ranch with us. I know Rhonda and I do a lot.
Yeah, it's been fun.
So we were at a show there in Wichita Falls. It's one of the first shows that they've had in a long time, and when we got the ranch, we realized a couple of things. Number one, it became an opportunity to give back that we never had. When it's something that when you go to church and you tithe, or you're giving a donation to a ministry or whatever, that means something. It does. But to be able to be here and experience these young men, look them at their eyes, to truly be able to feel like I'm helping and I can see what I'm helping, just meant a lot to Rhonda and I. And part of that was understanding that, when you start a ranch, you're going to breed animals. And at some point in time, you have more animals than what you're going to harvest. So we were trying to figure out, okay, what do we want to do? Well, just shooting them and putting them in the freezer wasn't an option. We wanted to be able to give back, and where could we find organizations that we felt like that we trusted, that would be a part of our team, and we could be part of their team to be able to do this. So we were kind of roaming the show, and believe it or not, it's actually my daughter. She was roaming through the shows, and she came back with Cross Trail Outfitters brochure, and she said, I think you need to go over here and have a conversation. So
I love that.
the nice thing,
I haven't heard this whole story. So I'm
yeah, this is all new. It is for you, I know.
Yeah.
And honestly, I don't think Casey's even heard the rest of the story.
Okay.
So this is probably a little new for him too, even about my daughter, coming in and showing us this. So I came over, and y'all were blessed because the booth was just crammed. I mean, I couldn't give the chance to even talk to Casey. So I just kind of left a message with his dad. And I said, when Casey has an opportunity, I'd love for him to come by, and I'd like to have a conversation with him. And just toward the end of the show, and Casey came by, and we had a conversation, and I felt it on my heart that this was the cause. This is something that I think Rhonda and I could back. We could be a part of and enjoy being part of it, like we do now with the boys and yourself and Casey. So that's kind of how it started, and then. We were kind of blessed with another landowner that we outfit for, and he had when he bought the property, he had way too many things, and All Dad were one. So we partnered up with Casey for, I think, 3 All Dad U hunts that we sponsored with Joe and ourselves here at the ranch, and it just kind of started. Then he talked about Ram Camp, and he said, we really have to drive a long way, and I said, well, we can do this here. That's not a problem.
40 minutes, 45 minutes from the
That's it.
Falls area?
Yes, sir.
That's what I thought. Yeah, wow.
So it's kind of grown, and then Casey and my friendship has grown since that point in time. My love for this organization has grown. I know Rhonda will tell you her love for the kids have grown. So that's kind of how it all started.
My tummy, just my food that I've been eating the last several days.
Well, I will have to throw in a punch for my 35-year culinary teacher over here. So I fight it all the time. But Rhonda, would you like to talk a little bit about the organization?
I guess I'll share with you my story with what CTO has done and inspired me. One of those things is I was baptized young, and I believe in God. And Victor and I went to church up in the Metroplex. It's been real hard since we've been here running the ranch because we have hunts that don't end until Sunday evening, and just trying to get this place up and running to be able to have beds and everything. So the first camp, and it might have been the second camp, I think it was the second camp, but seeing the young men pray out loud and have the encouragement to do that, my husband has never heard me pray out loud. I pray to myself in my car going to bed, but it's to myself, and I always thought I sound very silly because, like a squirrel, I'd lose track and come back. And so it was about the second group, and Casey asked who would like to lead the prayer, and I nervously raised my hand. I said, I believe I will. And I said, if these young men can do it, this old woman can do it, and I'm learning that it's with what your heart says. And I have a very big heart, so I tried it. I did it. I was successful. I didn't sound silly. And I've been doing it ever since. And like Victor said, we love Casey and Tiffany and the girls, and our twin boys just think the world of them. And so tomorrow we are going to, my mom and I are going to reaffirm our faith, as along with my husband Victor. And the twins are going to get baptized. They were christened as a baby, and we're going to do it out here, and Casey's going to do it.
Amen.
And I'm looking forward to it.
That was one of the big reasons why I actually wanted to come. I mean, I'm so blessed to be able to. I'm going to be all over the place this summer. And I'll go back here. I'll be home for a couple of weeks, and I say home, but then I'm at 2 more Ram camps in Missouri, and then turn around and leave for Alaska, and I'm in Alaska for a while, and then we're in West Virginia in the mountains, and then we're from there we're going to end up in Wisconsin, and we're all over the place, and in North Carolina too, in the middle of that. And when I was talking to Casey, like, yeah, I want to get to one of yours. Of course, he's like, well, any of them are great. But then he's always shared part of your all story of, like you said, reaffirming your faith, and just how Cross Trail Outfitters has been a catalyst of that aspect. I mean, we know that the Lord is what's working in your heart, but Cross Trail Outfitters was implementing that through Casey. And when he was talking about the guests, he's talking about you guys on our national conference call, and talked about how not just the blessing of doing the hunts. Matter of fact, I don't even remember a lot of that talk. I just remember talking about, man, this is what the landowners are wanting to do, and God is really growing them and working with them, and we're going to baptize them at camp. And we're all, I'm like, yeah, that was a big reason, one of the reasons why I wanted to come here. When, of course, we had met at Casey's banquet, and wanted to kind of just reaffirm that relationship, and just so it's been a huge blessing. And Rhonda has been doing some amazing cooking here. I think my wife is jealous because she's done that a lot at past summer camps. Even my mother, who is now 80, she'll be listening to this. She'll get, if I get this wrong, 83 years old, and doesn't do that anymore. But I miss having them here so you've been like a mother, a wife, everything to me, just being here taking care of us. So it's been exciting for that, and to watch you both interact with the boys. So.
I'd also like to add, you brought up your mom, that my mother, we lost my dad a couple of years ago, and she lives about 500 feet from our back door in her own home. But she loves this. She loves the boys. As you well know, the other evening, she's like, Casey, get all the boys together. Mimi has something to say. And she went out there and poured her heart and cried and told the boys how much she loves them and enjoys this. And I think with my teaching, I love kids. I love kids. And I'm a boy mom. So, if you've got 2, which I had, what's 11, 12, 13 more? But it's really good.
Now, people listen here are probably thinking, oh, that's awesome, but they don't realize your mother is how old?
My mom, July 20th, will be 90 years old.
90 years old.
And I will tell you that Mimi says to everybody, the hunt is not real unless Mimi sees the animal and she blesses it. Otherwise, it didn't happen.
And I personally witnessed that, so that's awesome for her to do that. Well, I when she was speaking to the boys, she started, and I went, oh my goodness, I have to record this.
Yeah.
So I have some of that on recording.
Good.
And I sent it to, we'll kind of try to piece it together a little better for you. I sent the rough part of it to my wife, and I said, this is what I'm experiencing here.
Yeah.
Kind of sent me back crying emojis.
Yeah.
And she's like, I can't wait to hear all the stories about you all more than even the boys. So.
Well, and I want to also include that my sister and brother-in-law sold their home and farm in Corsicana, Texas. They've bought property up here. They'll be like 2 minutes just down the road, and every time we have CTO up here, they come up, they help, they want to be a part. They love Casey and Tiffany and the girls, and it's kind of been a full circle here with the family. And then their grandson, Holden, is an awesome young man and good Christian, and he comes and guides, but right now he's welding out on, I don't know, doing all that big boy stuff on location. So he hasn't got to guide as much as he wants to, but he has to start making money because, he's 20, going to be 21, correct. So we're real grateful to have our family and be close and experience everything.
That is a neat thing. I didn't realize the connection of the family so much until I get here and get to meet everyone and realize this truly is a family affair that you guys have here. And as a man and as a dad, and I have two older girls. I'm a girl dad, and raised them, and they're both married, and we're getting ready to have our first grandchildren this fall.
Well,
so we kind of have that whole thing going on, and just knowing from a man perspective at the stage of life and watching your whole family come back. I know there's been some tragedy and some loss in that process, and everybody coming. I was somewhat jealous and envy of that, of just looking later in my own life of where it would be, and just think it's just neat that everybody is here, and I know that probably delights your heart to be able to provide that opportunity for them to do that, and every one of them's like, we just absolutely love it here, because you're not all from here.
No,
So-
we're all from a Metroplex area,
Yeah.
other than they were in Corsicana for a period of time.
Yeah.
But we come from, DFW Metroplex and the hustle and bustle. And,
Wow.
you get out here, and I'll tell a quick story where I knew two things. I knew we were home. So we closed, November the 24th?
We closed the Tuesday before
Thanksgiving, right?
in 2020.
So we picked up, all that was here was a fence and 12 animals, and we picked up our travel trailer
Right in the
and
middle
came
of
in.
COVID, too.
Yes.
I mean, and
Yes.
that throws.
It was
things-
tough. Even
Yeah.
finding a trailer for us took
Yeah,
us forever to find
yeah.
one. So we finally found it, purchased it, came here. The very first morning when I got up and I looked up, and it was the most beautiful sunrise you've ever seen. And I told Rhonda, I said, this is where God wants us. I said, because it was, in fact, it is my screensaver on my computer right now. That was it.
That sunset.
And I told you you're going to have some pretty ones.
Yeah. And we have seen some pretty good ones.
But we went into Alney because we had a fuel tank on the property, and a young lady named Tatum. They're part owners of Don's butane, so you can tell how old they are. Not propane, Don's butane.
I was gonna say, I haven't heard that for
Long time. So we went in there, and I was kind of asking Tatum, hey, I'd like the ranch to start developing credit. What do I need? And she goes, well, I've got your name now. She goes, give me your phone number. I know where you live, and I'm reaching for my wallet for credit cards or whatever. And I said, what else do you need? She goes, no, that's it. And that's the way this town is. This town is the way it was, I think, when our grandparents came up. When I'd look you in the eye as a man and shake your hand, and you would say, okay, I believe what you say.
Yeah.
And we are so blessed to have neighbors that are the same way in this town. So we love it.
Yeah, God knew what he was doing. We have Jeff and Denise Harmon next door to us that the CTO boys go fishing and all on their property, and they open up their pool and let them swim, and they're grateful for everything. But we couldn't have handpicked a better set. And I even went back teaching after I retired to this town. And I love the kids. You can't pass, how you'll pass a truck and they'll wave at you, but cars are like, nah. Cars here waving at
Everybody
you.
waves,
It's just very
I
friendly.
noticed that actually when I was driving here. That when I drove here, I was like, everybody does that. And in our small town, a lot of people do that, but in the Springfield area, you get into town, not very many people are doing that. So it's a different mindset out here. There's definitely that. And I can see just how God did some amazing work because I was like, what made you pick this, right? And it's almost like you're right smack dab in the middle. You've got everything. Your relationship with Joe right next door to you and how that's developing. And you've got your place right here. And then you got
Harmon's.
yeah, Harmon's, what they're doing, and have some more fishing and the things. It's kind of like, you're like, man, how'd you pick that? Well, sometimes we just do things, and that's how God's leading us, and we don't even know what that looks like until later.
So I will tell you how we actually found this. Taylor and Hunter had talked with Victor and are like, we're going to find a place to hunt so we can go on, And we went and looked at a lot of places. They were all South Texas, and it was like, look, I'm not leaving Friday at 5 or 12 o'clock because I had football games and drive 5 hours, turn around, and that's just ridiculous. So Taylor sent me a little screenshot of this property. He said, what do you think? I said, well, I don't know. You'll have to show Dad. And so they were going
We were in Nebraska.
on a prairie dog hunt, and he showed it to Victor. So Victor immediately called me and said, did you see what I sent you? And I'm like, yes, but Taylor sent it. He said, well, I called. We'll go look at it. Well, they got back. We turned around, came up here on a Sunday, came around, walked, put a deposit down, and never looked back. And here we are. But it's grown bigger than it was just going to be. It was just going to be a lease for the family and a place for us to retire. And then Victor and the twins got to talking, and one thing led to another, and here we are. We have a lodge. We're booking hunts. We're busy. We're full. And, God has a plan for all of us.
Yes, He does. And when we were driving around on the UTVs, I don't know if it was when we were looking for rams or looking for aoudads, which I'll tell everybody about that in a minute. But you and I just got a chance to kind of visit briefly, and you had said one of your biggest surprises, and you didn't really intend for this to really happen, was just like you just said, you were starting this place to have kind of a family lease, kind of retirement. Here's where we're going to be and live out our days, so to speak. But you all of a sudden realize, and you start the business, and then all of a sudden you start realizing the giving back. You knew you wanted to do something, I'm sure, but didn't realize just how much you could give back, and how, because you guys have done a lot just here. I mean, just what I've seen the last 5 days. What you've done for the boys with the rams and the ram hunt, and blessing Casey and I on these aoudad hunts and doing the things that are happening with that aspect of. And I'll tell you, that doesn't happen all the time. I've been doing this almost 17 years, and it's not every day I just get called and said, hey, come up here, we want to bless you too. It's been humbling this week for me, to be quite honest with you. I've been to, I don't know how many hundreds of camps over the years. But it was very humbling to be on the receiving end of being blessed. Like, no, I'm supposed to be serving and helping others. So it's been a little bit almost uncomfortable. And I was trying to think this morning after getting to harvesting my aoudad, I was thinking, man, God, why did this take all week? This was supposed to happen like the first day or two before the kids got here. That was the whole plan. And Casey's like, nah, we're going to get you taken care of because I can always come back, no big deal. And we're going to have this great time. And then Casey kills one the first day, bang, splat, everything's rocking and rolling. And then like 5 days later, Kirk still hasn't even pulled the trigger yet for a variety of reasons, not because of lack of audads. And it's just, and I do believe part of it for me is what I felt like the Lord teaching me even this week was, it was kind of humbling for me to be able to, God always wants to keep us humble. I can be a prideful man. I'm a pretty type A, go-getter type of a guy and type of a person, and to allow somebody else to bless me. And I do think too, God had a plan for, honestly, for you and I to be together. Even though it'd be great for Casey and I, it's a great experience, and it was. We've had some great time, with Bubba in the blind as well, and just being able to do that. And usually I'm the guy telling everybody, kind of, make sure you do this, make sure you do that, and it's humbling to have somebody else do that and realize, oh, you just don't know everything you think you know. But that's how we grow. It doesn't matter what age we are, right? That's just how we grow. And we not only need to be humble, but recognize that we need to learn. We never stop learning, and God never stops growing you. And I wouldn't tend to go all into that, but in my hunt, I literally didn't know if it was an aoudad. I kind of thought it was. I would have never made that decision because we were in the mesquite and it was brushy, and literally the spot was small. I couldn't even see the head, and you're working with me and just you're trying to see it, and when you just said it is taking, and I'm like, I can only see this. And he said, just find a spot and do it, you know? And I'm like, that's supposed to be my part. I'm supposed to be saying that because I don't know how many times I've told a boy, just find the spot, pull the trigger, tic-tac-toe, get it done, son, kind of thing. And I've got a man telling me, get it done, son, kind of thing. And I think there was a reason for that. And so I think that, again, not just blessing these boys, you guys have blessed me this week, and I really do appreciate it. We're not done yet. We still got baptisms to go, and more campfires, and more time with the boys, and more fishing, more swimming, and more playing, and shooting, lots of shooting now, because all the boys have shot out all their rams, and so got a lot more camp to go. But a lot of times, and we'll probably talk to the boys tonight at campfire, because it's really easy when you're at ram camp or hog camp, or maybe you're at fishing camp and you've done your big fishing trips, boys can check out. To think, oh, got my ram, everybody else has my ram, the ram, now camp's done. But it's not really done. I wouldn't say it's just beginning, but it's easy to check out and say, well, I checked my box. And isn't that an amazing life perspective of like how many times, especially as men, I won't speak for women, but when it comes to them checking them boxes for us men, check that box, yep, done that, and then once we get all of our box checks, we want to move on to the next thing. And we will challenge those boys this evening not to do that, because it could just be beginning with them and their relationship with Christ. It could just be doing something in their heart, whatever decision they need to make to get right with God, with something maybe that they're dealing with, or whatever it may be. So that was a huge blessing for me, and I think that's why God delayed my whole aoudad experience.
I think it's for you to be able to go tell everybody high fence hunting's not what they think it is.
Yeah, that's very true too. And because a lot, in us Missouri boys, every Missouri guy I know has had, and I've had some great high fence experiences in CTO and some great high fence hunts. But I will tell you that this one was, I've never hunted aoudad a day in my life, and I've been blessed to hunt a lot of amazing things. And yeah, this was not easy. I don't care how you go about it. Even if we would have slowed down or speeded up, it was still going to be difficult. And just so everybody know, I mean, I've been here for almost 5 days, and it's not for lack of trying that I wasn't able to harvest an aoudad. And we tried a lot, and then it took a group effort, and it was really cool to see that happen with the boys, and for all of them to be a part of it. And one of the boys, when he was walking up on, I don't know if he's ever really even seen a aoudad before up close, and he was walking in because, oh my goodness, that's a stud. I've never seen anything so big, you know, and just that itself made it worth for me just to do that. So we do appreciate you guys on that. So
we appreciate you all as well, and I hope that tomorrow that the boys see that, you know, with the baptism, it's never too late, and it doesn't mean you just do it once and it's over. It has a total different meaning. And I've been wanting to do this for a long time, and include the boys and family. So it means a lot.
That is exciting. And this week, going into this, Casey had told me a lot of the boys that we have here have accepted Christ. I said, but a lot of them have, and we knew that this would be more of a discipleship, which we're a discipleship ministry, would be more discipleship and a growing experience with them. And so it's really neat to see how God's moving in your all's life. That's kind of, I always call it like a cherry on top. We're a young boy's ministry, a young man's ministry, and to see families' lives being changed, moms and dads and donors and partners with us, companies that we work with, the CEOs we talk with, and when you start seeing God change their lives, it's not just guiding the next generation. In my mind, we almost need to maybe change our whole vision statement, just guiding all generations to Christ through the outdoors. Our focus is just on those young boys. So it has been special to watch that aspect. Tell me, because I'm kind of curious, because you guys have been with us for almost 3 years, and I may be kind of taking you off guard, and Ron's like, oh, don't ask me a question that you haven't already prepped me on. Do you have, like, is there one experience in the last few years that just stands out that you have seen, or whether it be a hunt, or whether it be a certain kid, you don't have to even say their name per se, or just something that you've seen that really inspired you, or you just really drew you to cross trail outfitters? Can you think of one experience?
I think it's an overall, right? So I think Mimi kind of said what I believe, because she commented and complimented the boys about the manners, the yes sir and the no ma'am, and the helping and the being there to assist. As she's walking across the floor, being 90 years old, the boys are trying to help her. We have lost, as at least in my opinion, we've lost some of what I think all of us were instilled in when we were kids, about drinking out of the water fountain and playing outside, and we're not using video games, and the family sitting down for dinner. I think we've lost a lot of that. So it's encouraging for me to be able to see the generation that's going to take care of us.
Gives you a little bit of hope.
Well, that's a big thing, because Rhonda and I have talked about a lot of times, it's not the generations where we're taking care of Mimi, right? Because it's our responsibility, right? We're always concerned on, what happens when we get old. Have we lost that in our heritage? And seeing these young men with the mannerisms and the kindness and the love, because and I'm no different than you, and you've been around me, so you understand. I'm that A-type personality as well, right? I'm a get it done no matter what. Sometimes I have to stop and think, okay, is that the right way to do things? Because I want to go sometimes at my pace too. But to be able to see these young men, that we're going to teach them how to be men, but teach them how to be kind, gentle, understanding, respectful men, is what means something to me. So it's not just the person, it's what y'all minister and what y'all basically do that means something to me.
That's a very, very good point. It's very exciting to hear you say that, because, and a lot of these boys have been in CTO for a little bit, and so it's wearing off. And I have heard a lot of yes sir, yes ma'ams, how can I help you? It's been all really fun to watch Mimi interact with them, and just having her involved in the process has been very exciting. I miss my grandparents. I lost my grandparents. I'll start crying many years ago. I miss them like crazy. So anytime I see somebody like that, it touches my heart to see her so exciting, and so just to have the boys around and watch her light up like that, and to watch her go to tears. I mean, that was like the first night when the boys were here to do that. So
do you want to talk about yours?
You got one experience?
Kind of like what Victor said. They've all just been extraordinary, respectful young men, and all. But I will tell you that, hold on just a second. Taylor, this is our son, Taylor.
Taylor's like, no.
You're going to drag me into
No, you can come in. So we're all about being very authentic. Now you're going to share a chair, squeeze in there. I think you're in the screens. I think you're good.
That's okay, because
introduce your boy here.
this is our son, Taylor.
Just talk, say hello.
Just say hello.
Oh, hello.
We're totally taking him off guard. He peeked, what you guys can't see on the podcast, he peeking around the corner like, what's going on? And
Hey,
Bob's like scooting over.
You
saying,
got to
"Say,
look
get
at that
in here."
cap though.
Oh yeah, there you go.
He's got
This
his cap on.
We got some new cool caps that
There I
Casey
was
got. And
around the corner.
That's your "there I was" story. Yeah. He was around the corner.
I think Taylor had a story of, wasn't it one of the young men that was having I think you said something about one of the young men is having a tough time or something and was so excited on just one of the things you
we
had
were
guided
talking about, was there
possibly.
one story that the last few years working with Cross Drive that kind of really sticks to your mind?
Yeah, there was one kid, I don't remember his name, but
And that's okay.
and but through all the boys and all that stuff, you like looking at him, I knew like he's taken a big step to even come out here and experience it and try to take it all in, and he handled his emotions differently than the others. Yeah. So yes, every single boy is a top priority to get a sheep, but I was really wanting to get him on one, and when he got one, it was kind of like we drove around the Can-Am, sheep were going in and out of the trees, and he was real patient, and every single one that came out, that one, no, wait, not that one, no, you don't want to shoot that one, just keep waiting. And finally when he had that opportunity, he looked at me and he was like, is that it? And I'm like, keep looking in the scope, I'm like, don't lose him. Mm-hmm. And when he pulled that trigger and that sheep dropped, his reaction was
Priceless.
Yeah, it was priceless. You couldn't paint a picture of it. And it's just his emotions and how he handled it and all that stuff. And
Makes your heart swell.
Yeah, he picked the gun up. I took it, and next thing you know, I look, he's already running, trying to. I'm like, we're not turkey hunting. You ain't gotta go step on him, But he's not going anywhere. But yeah, that was my favorite memory for sure.
That's
being
awesome.
able to get him on one, but it's every single boy here. I mean, it's a great organization, and if we could and will, and come out here all the time,
Yeah.
Trust me, there's work for them to do too. So
Absolutely. You got to have a little skin in the game.
yeah, I suppose we've been down there skinning all of them, just going through and all that stuff. I came up here to get a water.
Wait, did I get my odd dad done?
We're working on it.
Okay, we need to talk a little longer then.
Yeah.
Make sure, because I don't want to go do it.
Casey's
We're
is
all clean.
yeah,
We're
Ca-
covered up for the
Casey's
podcast.
is up right now. So, but yeah, it's good. Some of the boys in there trying to understand how to cape and how to do it and all that stuff. Trying to be careful and all that stuff. And then they get so careful that they're like cutting this much at a time. Like, no, go a little faster. Just cut towards the body. You don't worry about the hide, and you'll be good. But yeah,
That is cool. It's always neat to watch. A lot of times we always say if they harvest their first deer or their first animal, we'll do it with you, not for you, but with you. And the next time you're going to do it. And yeah, you're going to mess up. You're going to probably punch that gut or you're going to do something.
Yeah.
But that's how a boy learns.
Absolutely.
Boy doesn't learn by us just telling. It's one thing that we are really big in as CTO is just letting that boy experience it and do it. We will train, show, and equip, but we're not just going to constantly talk.
Right.
We want them to go do, and we can put them in situations. And there's sometimes people might say, "Oh, well, you haven't shown them enough." But as I believe, as a young boy, as a man, men and boys don't learn by somebody just talking at them.
You gotta make mistakes.
You gotta make mistakes. You gotta do it. You gotta get cut. You gotta bleed. You gotta have some of that skin in the game, and in order to understand it. Yeah.
My experience yesterday of skinning in a long time.
Cut your finger.
Yeah,
I didn't know
I
you'd done
did.
that yet.
Yep.
I mean, speaking of mistakes, I mean, how just building this place from the ground up. I mean, I'm out here framing a wall, and I'm like, heck yeah, this is going good. Frame the wall, all that stuff. Frame it. Told Victor, I'm like, it's done, and all that stuff, and he's like, where's the window at? I'm like, oops.
Forgot the window.
So I had to undo the wall, take out the 2x4s, two frame in the window.
Oh, wow.
But it's like you gotta let the boys do whatever they're gonna do, even if it's finish the project and if it's wrong, I mean, you're going to learn from there. And I mean, there's, some of those boys, it's blood, sweat, and tears, and that's how we built this place too. It's just blood, sweat, and tears, and it's just getting them out in the outdoors and understanding the real purpose of why we do it that's what makes this ranch worth it. It's, every guide and every client is family, but it's just like having these boys out here. It's just it's the icing on the cake. It's just because I kind of heard y'all talk, it's the next generation. So, I mean, it's important to keep this hunting, the conservation, keeping everybody in the outdoors is very important. It's not just running a business. It's not. I mean, there's more to it. So
that's why we talk about our vision is guiding the next generation to Christ in the outdoors. But our core values are building men, preserving our heritage, because we all know that's going away. We talked about this on several podcasts ago, that the latest statistic that I have heard from qualified people, we're losing 7% a year of youth hunters. Do your math. In 10 years, that's 70% of youth hunters will not be hunting. And so the heritage side is an important part to get them in the outdoors to experience that. If I had a nickel for every kid that I've said that has done the, Cabela's Dangerous Hunts or whatever, all the different, I'm showing my age, that one's been around a long time. I'm from the Atari days, right?
I'm there.
And before they didn't have the Ataris. And they're bringing those back.
I think
now.
It's called Pong is where I started at.
Pong, little line on the bottom
That
of
was
one ball.
it.
They're bringing that back now, which is crazy. But I think that that whole heritage side of just getting those boys in the outdoors is so important, because it is going away. And I love what you just said, Taylor, about I'd be curious, did you know he had forgotten the window? Did you know that at all?
Yeah, I knew it.
Okay. Well, if you'd already knew that he had done that prior and didn't really say anything until later, okay, that tells me as a leader, there's some people that might say, well, that's crazy, you could have stopped that. My personality is a tendency to do that. I don't follow Chip Gaines, the
Waco.
the Waco couple,
Yeah.
Waco people. But I read his book. My wife says you'll really love his book. Even though she hadn't, she just heard these good things, and a lot of leadership. I do a lot of leadership training, and one of the things, and I'm going to butcher this. If Chip, if you ever listen to this podcast, I'm apologizing. I have never met this man, but what I learned from his book was he tells a story of kind of what you just did. He allowed one of his employees that came in that he felt like had the ability to be able to be one of his closers on properties and do different things, but she had never done it before, and gave her this big deal right up front, and she messed it up and had lost literally hundreds of thousands of dollars when they couldn't afford to lose hundreds of thousands of dollars. But he knew that she would learn, because he knew that she was the best and knew that she would learn better than him standing there and just making her do it right, and let her make that mistake. And she has made up that millions times more with what she has done. And that taught me something. It's just sometimes we do have to make mistakes, and now you'll never probably ever make that mistake again.
Well, just how they raised me, and being in the Air Force, that's how I treat my airmen as well. It's just, hey, we have this inspection, we got to do this and that. Okay, we'll go do it. And then 10 minutes later or something, then I'll walk out there. Oh, well, that's wrong. Well, why is it wrong? Well, if you follow the tech data and all this stuff, it says X, Y, and Z. It's just, it's not, how I was raised is how I'm going to raise my kids. It's how I'm going to raise the new airmen that come in and all that stuff, just because you don't see it anymore. And I think that's just, as a man, if you're going to be a provider, if you're going to lead, anything like that, you got to be willing to make mistakes. And if you can't do that, then you can't lead either. So that's just.
If you're scared of making mistakes all the time,
You're not even going to try.
then you're not even going to try.
Well,
So
and God made us the way that we are because we've got to make mistakes so we learn. And by learning, me as a teacher, I love to learn. So yes, I make mistakes and I learn from it, but that doesn't stop me from continuing on. And I think the generations need to understand it's okay. It's perfectly fine. You're not going to be yelled at. You know, this is how we learn, and that's how God intended it to be.
Wow. Yeah. This is. We could do a whole other podcast just on this because it is so important for people to understand that it's okay to make mistakes. And just yesterday in one of our devotion times with the boys, Casey had them go just pick out somebody they didn't really know as well. Don't just grab your best buddy. And he made them get to know each other and actually find out about their relationship with Christ and if they even had a relationship with Christ, and making them talk about something that was kind of awkward for them. And some people would say, well, that's not fair. You didn't go teach them how to do that. But he was taking them out of their comfort zone and letting them make mistakes and to talk and to go through that and to be bold for their faith. And they were talking about how it was awkward because we've grown up in this way of just we have to worry about what we think, what we look like, how what people think about us, our world of social media and all the things that we have.
Sir.
Yeah, it's really, really, really hard. I mean, and almost to where it's not even their fault, and maybe it's even sometimes not our fault. Obviously, we got to take responsibility for our actions, but we live in that type of a world that I believe social media sometimes all you're seeing is the good, and you don't realize the struggle that a lot of people are having, and you think people got this perfect life, but they don't really have this perfect life out there. Now we know that we can have a good life with our relationship with Christ. He never leaves us, He never forsakes us, but it doesn't mean that everything's going to be perfect. It doesn't mean that you're not going to have some hard times. It doesn't mean you're not going to have death around you. You're not going to have things happen due to your choices or maybe even somebody else's choice. It's not even your fault. But to understand that there's a God that loves you and loves you unconditionally, and He meets you right where He is, right where you are, right where I am, and He doesn't, again, the key word unconditional, He doesn't judge you for that. Now, God is a God of wrath, but here's a God is also of second, third, fourth, 10th, 20th chances, 100th chances. I know He has for me my entire life.
Well, I know those boys know that when they're out there shooting those rams. It's like the last group that went in. Some kids shoot their ram one shot.
Yeah.
Some kids it takes 4 or 5, and it's not a huge deal, but to them it's a big deal. But it's also it's your second, third opportunities and all that stuff. And I'm sure those kids that go through it, it's just like that's their main focus. And they're like, I can't mess this up. I can't mess this up. But, it's all opportunity, and it's about,
The animal making the mistake.
Well, at the end of the day, well, you missed that shot. Well, I guess God wasn't ready for you yet. God's like, well, let me give you another chance, But it's just like you can't get upset. You can't lose. You can't just be like, I'm done. Yeah. No. Like we're gonna keep going, and that's the whole thing. It's just nothing's ever perfect the first time. You live, you learn, make your mistakes, and you just build from there.
Yeah, absolutely. No, that's a good lesson.
May I ask if I could be excused? Because I have dinner to do for a lot of boys and men.
All right, baby,
we'll let you leave. We're about to wrap it up, but we'll let you go ahead and
Thank
leave.
you.
Thank you, Rhonda, for being here. We appreciate your heart and what you've been doing for us. Rhonda's been filling our tummies all week long, and she's going to go fill our tummies some more. So this is great.
I'm in charge of hamburger duty.
Yeah.
Got
the grill duty going on.
All right. So she's going to go get French fries and everything else with it.
Get the tomatoes and the lettuce and get everything together.
Get the oil heated up.
Yeah.
Well, Taylor walked in earlier today, and I was like, well, what are you doing here for? We've already shot all the rams.
That's the same thing I told him. I said, well, good, I got a lot more things you can do on the ranch, We're never done.
There's always a lot.
There's always something.
A few more lanes to cut, a little more of this or that to cut, some firewood or whatever it is that's needing to be done.
Yes, sir.
No, that is great. Well, guys, this has been fun. It's been really good. I know it's been really informative for people. Guys, check out B-Tex Ranch. You want to tell them your website and everything? People can kind of tell them how to get
thank you.
hold of it.
I appreciate it. So Bretting, Bretting, Texan Ranch. teamcto.com is our website. Our DBA is B-Tex, which is pretty well what we go through most of the time. But if you would, please look at our website, and if there's anything we can do to help you, we'd love to.
Yeah, absolutely. And check them out because they do have an amazing place, and they're good people here. They'll give you, it's not just about the hunting. You're going to feel like you're part of the family.
Yes.
And you're going to feel like you're like living here, not just staying here. It's such, the hospitality is unbelievable. The hunting is unbelievable. But also, if you're here supporting them, you're also giving back to people that are giving back to the kids of Cross Trail Outfitters. Because I think it's important to understand, this isn't just a one-time thing. You've been doing this already several times. You're going to continue to do these even many more times. So this is not something that's just a one-time deal. And that's what Cross Trail Outfitters is. It's not just a one-time experience for one boy, or as we like to say sometimes, just not a one photo op. Take that picture and then move on. We want lots of photo ops, but it's not even about the photo op. It's about the life-changing experience for that young man, not just in the field, but sitting around a campfire and letting God change his heart. The conversations in the blind, the conversations in the UTVs, driving around, seeing these beautiful, amazing animals that this Missouri boy doesn't get to always see all those types of things. It's just very exciting. Your guys' hospitality has been amazing. So we're excited to see future things. So when you're checking out their website, you're going to see pictures of some CTO kids.
Oh, yeah.
Go to their Facebook page, go to all the any other social media.
Instagram.
Yeah.
And you know, if you can't remember the website name, you can just Google search hunting ranches in Texas. Should be the second, third one down. Awesome. Or make it short, just Google B-Tex Ranch. Everything will pop up. So same thing with Facebook and Instagram. Just search B-Tex Ranch. Everything will pop up for you.
Great. Awesome. Well, guys, this has been great. It's been fun. I do appreciate what y'all doing for the boys.
Thank you.
I really do appreciate it. It's been a pleasure. We still got a couple more days.
Yes, we do.
So check these guys out. It's been a great conversation, not just about the boys, but even about leadership, about how to guide the next generation in just life in itself. So I think we've got a lot of things to take, and a lot of people will have a good take back from what they're hearing from what you guys just said. So, guys, thanks for joining us around the campfire here with Wild Pursuits and Cross Trail Outfitters. So until next time, we'll see you around the campfire. Thank you for listening to Wild Pursuits with Cross Trail Outfitters. CTO is a hunting and fishing club with the mission of guiding the next generation to Christ through the outdoors. If you'd like to support us or are interested in getting involved, visit us on our website at teamcto.org. Links are in the description. Make sure to like and share our podcast. And join us next time around the campfire with Wild Pursuits.